Several local establishments face punishments after being found guilty of selling alcohol to a minor. And we have details about a great community resource not many people know is available. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, September 19th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mantle. The Greenhouse restaurant will be forced to close for 3 days next month. The restaurant, located at the Holiday Inn on Route 132 in Hyannis, was found guilty of selling alcohol to a minor. Detective Therese Gallant talked about the incident during this week's licensing authority hearing.
So on July 9th of this year, there was an alcohol compliance check that was conducted by myself, Lieutenant Cabral, and a decoy. That night we set out shortly after 4 p.m. We had filled out some paperwork with our decoy prior to that, went over the rules and regulations, and then we headed out. These compliance checks are obviously to make sure that everybody's remaining, doing their job out there. So our decoy was instructed to utilize the following format for every business that he entered. He was to approach the bar. He was asked for a Bud Light beer from the bartender. If he was asked for identification, he was to leave that bar. If the bartender sold him a beer, he did use a $20 bill provided to him by the police department. The decoy was instructed to accept the beer, leave it on the bar, exit the establishment, where he then would hand over the change from that transaction to myself or Lieutenant Cabral. At that point, either Lieutenant Cabral or myself would enter the establishment. We'd speak with the bartender to confirm the sale, and then we'd return the change, retrieve our $20 bill for the purchase. If we had an opportunity, we'd also ask to speak to the owner or the manager of the bar. So on this particular evening, again on July 9th, approximately 6:55 p.m., we had pulled into the parking lot at the Mad Hatter, and our decoy entered the lounge that's located on the first floor there. He was familiar with this particular area as he had been there. He participated in the previous year's operation. The decoy entered via the main entrance. He was inside the building for approximately 3 minutes while we maintained surveillance. He exited through the same door. He entered our police vehicle. It was an undercover vehicle, and with change in hand. The decoy told us that he had sat at the left end of the bar. It was empty of customers, and had asked for a Bud Light beer. He confirmed that he had been sold a Bud Light beer by a white male bartender who had not asked him for identification. He stated the bartender was wearing a Holiday Inn shirt, and then he paid $4.50 for the beer with the $20 bill we had provided to him. So shortly after he came out, he handed over the change. I then went in and engaged with the bartender. I spoke to Jared Peckham. I advised him that he had just sold a Bud Light beer to an underage person, and needless to say, he was dismayed and appropriately apologetic for what had taken place. I asked him to retrieve the $20 bill from the till, which he did, and I'll make note that when I went in there, it was empty of customers. There was a waitress that was sitting there, there was a bartender there, there was nobody else in the lounge at the time. And the beer, in fact, was still sitting on the bar when I went in. So he retrieved the $20 bill from the register, and I provided him back with the change. And I learned that the manager was not available to speak with me. I told Mr. Peckham at the time that a report would be documented relative to this incident, and that if anybody had any questions, I provided him with with a business card, and asked that they reach out to me if they had any questions or concerns.
The Greenhouse restaurant will be forced to close October 7th, 8th, and 9th due to a previous violation. Saga Fusion will also be forced to close for a period of 3 days. The licensing authority found a bartender did serve an underage patron at the establishment. Barnstable Lieutenant Mark Cabral talked about the incident during this morning's licensing authority hearing.
The sting operation was exactly as described in the prior show cause hearing for the previous restaurant, as Officer Gallant described it. In this particular case, we arrived at the Saga Fusion at about 5 minutes past 5 p.m. on July 9th. I pulled up into a parking space just a few doors down from the entrance. The decoy that was with us was familiar with this location as he had purchased an alcoholic beverage there a year prior in September of 2015. The decoy entered the main entrance and was inside for only 3 minutes while we maintained surveillance of the business. He exited through the main entrance and then entered the undercover vehicle. He stated that he sat at the bar, towards the middle and asked for a Bud Light bottle. A bartender behind the bar served him a Bud Light bottle without asking for identification. He paid with a department $20 bill and received $16 change. He described the bartender as an Asian male wearing a blue plaid shirt and having black glasses. I then entered the Saga Fusion, made contact with the owner and manager, Mr. Sky Huang. I was familiar with him from the compliance check in September of 2015. I let him know that the underage person had just been in the bar and had purchased the alcoholic beverage without any identification being asked. I moved down to the middle of the bar and I saw that the Bud Light was still sitting on the bar. At this point, for the sake of the business, I escorted Mr. Huang and the bartender, I believe a Mr. Lin, outside, and we talked on the side of the building. I asked him if he remembered me sitting right here on this board in spring of 2016 and explaining to him how important it was that he asked for identification, and he acknowledged that he was, and he did not know why this occurred on this date. It's pretty much a summation of the incident. We did retrieve the $20 bill, and there was no doubt that the sale had occurred.
And Saga Fusion will close October 7th, 8th, and 9th, and that, of course, is due to a previous violation as well. Lambert's Rainbow Fruit, Puff the Magic, Tiki Port, Fancy's Market, and the Village Store of West Barnstable were all also found guilty of serving alcohol to a minor. Those establishments will be forced to close their stores for 1 day, as those were all first offenses. Cape Cod Community College offers routine dental services at its clinic. Cape Cod Community College spokesperson Michael Gross says more people should be aware of the low-cost treatment options available.
Certainly the public knows that we have a wonderful dental hygiene program, because if you ever go to almost any dental office around here, it's quite likely that one of the dental hygienists who are there came out of our program. We have a very, very successful program, and much thanks to Maureen Wilkins and the Wilkins family who have been supporting it for some time. It's a state-of-the-art clinic. It's an amazing program. But what many people don't know is that they provide services to the public, all sorts of services, at an amazingly discounted price so that our students can be trained. But they're trained under the guidance of clinical dentists and very highly trained hygienists, so that you can get amazing services, everything from full dental x-rays, you can get full dental sealants, bleachings, cleanings, all sorts of things that frankly would be very, very expensive. A full mouth set of dental x-rays. If you're going somewhere and you know you're going to need some work, you can get a full set of dental x-rays for $25. You can get your entire full mouth cleaning, everything, toothbrush, exam, the whole thing for $20.
Wow.
And I think the public needs to know that this isn't inexpensive because it's inexpensive treatment or not less than quality treatment. I think it's something that the public needs to be aware of. It is not something that is income dependent. As a matter of fact, we know, frankly, some people who are quite well off, but they want to give our students the training and the help. We do know some senior citizens, though, who are on fixed incomes. We know people whose incomes aren't as strong as they'd like, who are able to bring their students. By the way, there will be, throughout the year, there will be dental sealant special nights to bring your children in to have their teeth sealed right up. It's wonderful to kind of keep away the cavities. It really helps, especially with young children. Really wonderful.
The dental clinic at Cape Cod Community College is open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. You can give the clinic a call to set up an appointment. You can learn more by visiting capecod.edu. Well, Cape Cod Community College and CC Construction will be improving sewers on Burses Way in Hyannis. The work will be done between Route 132 and Enterprise Road. Work will include excavation of the roadway for the installation of sewer piping and paving. Work will be done between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. and is expected to be complete by Friday, October 7th. We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Police Chief Paul McDonald. We'll talk to DPW Director Dan Santos. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.